Fellas, what's going on? What's going on? How we living?
Greetings and
Not much.
salutations, Chancellor.
Yeah, greetings. Sorry, Dwight, for putting out the wrong one, man. But we're back.
We are back. For starters, before we get things rolling, DJ, where were you when you first got the official notification from your source or from your phone that Jaden Higgins was done for the year?
I was at the gym getting a workout in.
You ain't pushing no real weight.
Chance, Chance, you worked out with me before, and you were seeing stars before.
Hey, relax. Hey, hold on. We're supposed to talk about that. Come on, man.
Stars within 15 minutes. You was on a wall like this, laid out like this.
Hey, listen. that was before I really started working out. And speaking, while we're on that, Sarge had been telling us like, "Oh, y'all pull up, y'all don't really want to lift for real." And then both Jonathan and I were like, "We'll pull up on you." And then Sarge had all these excuses of why he couldn't work out.
What the
Chance, hold on.
Stars.
Well, hold on. Chance, don't look. I know you miss me, but you ain't got to shoot at me early on. But since you do want to shoot, get your ass up at 3:30 in the morning. Meet me at EOS.
We can do that.
You're not
going to film it. What?
Tomorrow morning, Thursday morning, EOS 3:45 a.m.
Hey, look, not tomorrow. Hey,
stop talking to me.
Hold on.
Stop talking to me.
Before the season starts. How about that? You got to be on a window.
Stop talking to me if you're not going to. If you're not going
to EOS though,
huh?
Which EOS?
The one. No, I'm not gonna say it. I'll send it to you privately. I don't need nobody pulling up on me, Sarge. I ain't like what you said online, and now I got to fight. No, thank you.
I don't think
he got it. No, he got a good point. No, he got a good point.
Hey, do you see my good mornings? What time did I text the group chat this morning?
You know what's funny? I didn't even see it until like afterwards, like after Jonathan hit the chat.
I'm up, brother.
Hey, but listen, look, if we're live on camera, I will tell you right now, before the season starts, we can get one in at whatever time you want.
What were you watching? Yes, what were you watching? What's that?
Oh, that is my wife's watching One Tree Hill in the background.
You mean what you're watching?
Yes.
My wife. I'm not gonna show my wife, but like
that's what you're watching too. If your wife watching that, you're watching that too.
Nah, I was actually doing some editing just now. So
hey, look, I'm not gonna even lie. Don't pull up on me then lean out. I mean, lean up against the wall or this, that, and other, because I'm gonna call you out. And we got people in that gym.
I got a picture. I got a picture of it too. I gotta just scroll.
I got people in my gym to be like, "Hey, bro, who you bring up in here?"
First of all, we were doing like it was like a hit joint. Unless you're doing
hit joint, bro.
Yes, it was.
It was nice.
Come on, man. We ain't doing that.
We were pushing some sleds, doing some some lunges, stuff like that.
And on top of that, that was before I started doing cardio for real. I'd actually like to run that back. We can't run that back.
You don't want to run that back for DJ.
Man, like, I can't remember. Whenever I find a picture.
DJ, hold on. Did he not see your video from the other day after you left practice and then when it got the workout in?
I ain't see that one.
What? I ain't gonna even look. You got to go find it. DJ, DJ, you left practice, right?
Yeah, and I'm like, yeah.
And then got a workout in. He put it on his IG. Hey, nothing but respect on that one, brother. You'll never catch me doing that. I am too old to do all that box jumping plyometric. Hey, just put me on the bench. Let me lift some weight.
That's how you put yourself from popping in Achilles, brother.
Oh. Jonathan, you were one of the ones to help break the news. Where were you at when the notification hit your phone from your source that Jayden Higgins was done for the year?
That was like 11 o'clock, right? I was at a coffee shop doing work, man. I was putting in work, writing a story, doing my due diligence because I knew that the news was gonna pop off. So, had to be prepared. So, it was unfortunate, man, because in my opinion, I thought I'm not saying he was about to have 1,000-yard season, but I thought Jayden Higgins was about to be much more improved. I thought he looked like a guy who CJ Stroud thought he could rely on. They had developed a connection. And now you have this, and it happens at the worst time because ideally the Texans want to have all their pieces on offense just to kind of get it going, gain some confidence. And now you're missing one of your biggest targets. And now you got to rely on guys who, have been through injuries. Jaylen Null has been injured throughout camp. He's back, but Tank Dell is just coming off from a major knee injury. We know that he's got to get adjusted. Xavier Hutchinson is going to have an opportunity to step up, but you just wonder who can be that true. I don't think anybody is going to be able to replace what Higgins could have potentially brought if he was at his best.
And for people in the chat right now who are watching, drop a comment. Let us know where you were at and what your reaction was when you found out the news. Sarge, what about you? What was your immediate reaction knowing, being at training camp, every practice, seeing the work he had put in, seeing the progress and the improvement from Jayden Higgins, knowing the type of impact that he was going to potentially have on the season, to see that he was done for the year?
I'm not going to even lie. I felt really bad for that young man, and the reason why I felt bad for him is because I know that the work that he put in and that he talked about, not only in the off season but at training camp. If you're out there early enough, you'll see players like rookie Cade McDonald come out there to get his work in early. Will Anderson Jr. come out there to get his work in early. And one person that you see, and last year it was two people, you would see Jaylen Null and you would see Jayden Higgins come out there. But Jayden Higgins has consistently been out early to make sure that he has himself prepared for training camp. And we've seen him, start to develop and take that next step as far as getting acclimated to playing in the NFL. And so I felt bad for him because I know the amount of work that he put in. I know how wide receivers coach Ben McDaniels talks about him. I know how Nick Caley talks about him. I know how Nico and the rest of the wide receiver group, how much they believe in Jayden Higgins and how good he would have been. And I'm going to be honest with you, from a media standpoint, and this may sound selfish this may sound selfish. So, the thoughts, views, and opinions of Big Sarge is Big Sarge and Big Sarge alone. It doesn't reflect that of the Texans Cookout. Selfishly, I'm going to miss being able to talk to Jayden, because Jayden is one of those guys that if you catch him in the locker room, he never ever, doesn't have time for you if he has the time. Like if he's up against it, he'd be like, I can't do it today. I got you tomorrow. And he's one that will double back. Or if he says he got you and he sees you somewhere else, he will wait on you to come to him so he could talk to you.
Did anybody see the play? I know it was a route. Jonathan, what do you remember about that moment? And did you think it could be this?
No, I just saw him kind of rolling in the back. I saw like the aftermath, like right when it happened, like he had fallen to the ground and he was kind of rolling over, and he grabbed at his knee like immediately, and he didn't get up. And if a guy grabbing at his knee, and there wasn't a defender that close to him, so I thought he could have bumped into a guy, or it could have been non-contact. But if you grab at your knee, I figured that there was a possibility he could have torn his ACL. I also thought the fact that he got up on his own and didn't need a cart, thought that could have been a good sign. But I think he just tried to tough it out. So initially it didn't look so well. I guess him grabbing at his knee made it look a little bit like it was bad, but he wasn't crying out or anything like that.
DJ, just what type of impact missing Jayden Higgins, especially with the plans that the Texans have for him, will it have on this team?
August 21st. Chance.
He was like that.
Dead tired.
Hey, look, you see me sweating. I was sweating though. I was getting a workout in.
That boy was. That was a year ago. That's crazy. I thought it was
a year ago. Yeah, listen.
A year ago.
I'm a whole year now.
It was August 21st, August 19th. He ain't been back since. So, my initial thoughts, I kind of echo a lot what Sarge and Jonathan had to say. Obviously I didn't see him fall, but I saw him getting up or trying to get up, and he couldn't. And then obviously he grabbed his knee. And, he walked it off. But at that point, you always got to think, what is possible, right? Because it was non-contact. You just never know. Now you don't want to assume anything because that's not something you don't want to get wrong. You don't want to be able to say, "Oh, he's gonna be fine," or "Oh, he's towards ACL," and then it's the opposite, or whatever. So the impact, I think, is going to be rather large, mainly because he was starting to emerge to be a dependable number two. Now you don't need Xavier Hutchinson step into that role. Whenever Null gets back, kind of step into that role. Whenever Tank is healthy, because I think obviously right now the Texans don't they clearly don't think he's ready for physical contact yet. especially in a game manner, because they haven't. I mean, he has some reps during team, but we can probably count on our hands the amount of reps he's had on team overall. So, my bad. People just blowing my phone up for no reason. But either way, though, that is a serious loss, and I think, objectively speaking, it could be one that does lower potentially what the Texans could do if nobody else steps up.
DJ, you mentioned Xavier Hutchinson. We saw him in a bit of a role like that last year when Nico went down, or playing as the number 2 wide receiver. With the growth he's shown you this training camp, how much confidence do you have in him to be able? To be able to fill in and do some of those things that you would expect a wide receiver number 2 to provide for a team.
I mean, he has to prove it. Yeah, you got to prove it. I think, last year when he was kind of inserted into that role, especially against the Patriots, I think like 3 of Stroud's interceptions were while he was targeting Hutch. So I mean, it's funny, like one of his interceptions it hit Hutch in the hands, and et cetera, et cetera. So Hutch probably, I don't want to say he's excited for this opportunity, but I know that because I don't want to make it seem like he's happy that the man got hurt.
Right.
But I know that being in his role, knowing there's going to be more on his plate, I know he's going to rise to the challenge in the sense of he's going to try to do everything he can to meet the challenge. Now, will he? That's on him to figure that out, and that's on him to actually show up in that aspect. I think he was going to play a lot anyway because he's a really good. He's effective in the run game, so he's going to play a lot. Now, all this does is make it definitive that he's going to play a lot of snaps this year. He's going to be up there with Nico in that aspect. So, actually up there with Nico in that aspect. So, in terms of confidence, I put it at a 5. Not because I don't think he's capable, but it's more like he has to kind of prove it and show it.
Show me.
Yeah, you got to do it. Right now his career high is 428 yards in a season. Obviously, they're gonna need way more than that from him. But I also want to say, I don't know if it's necessarily he's gonna be the number 2 option per se. It could be Schultz, or it could be Null, right? It's that spot's kind of more up for grabs. Because technically, if you looking at yards and reception, Schultz was the number 2, so he could slide back. He could potentially slide back into that spot. So we'll see. But I would say, when it comes to receivers, in terms of being a dynamic playmaker, he's gonna have to step up and fill that void, either him or Null or whatever Tank gets back.
Sarge, pick one weapon for CJ Stroud outside of Nico Collins, who you will now look at as far as making, stepping up and filling some of the shoes of what, the production they would expect from Jayden Higgins.
I'm going to say Xavier Hutchinson, and the reason why I'm going to say Xavier Hutchinson is DJ did mention that he had his career high last season, 428 yards receiving, and he had 35 receptions, but he was only targeted 57 times. And so when you look at, Jayden Higgins was targeted 68 times and he had 41 receptions. I will say this is that when you look at Hutch, he's very effective. Of course, like DJ mentioned, he's very effective in the run game, but I would like to see what he can do with more reps because, for what we say about the ups and downs that CJ Stroud went through in the wide receiver, in the offense with having Bobby Slowick for 2 seasons and then having Nick Caley as a rookie offensive play caller last year, and now they're going into the second season. Xavier Hutchinson has went through that exact same thing, and he's also went through it with less reps. I know that Xavier Hutchinson didn't have the amount of hype or was drafted as high as Jayden Higgins coming into the league, but when you go back and you look at his college accomplishments, they're pretty much him and Higgins pretty much have the same the same accomplishments as far as college accomplishments at Iowa State is concerned. And so I'm just curious to see what he can do now in his 4th year, in a contract year, in his 2nd season, getting comfortable in this system, in his 4th year playing with CJ Stroud, with better, with potentially better offensive line play to protect Stroud, to give, not only, Nico Collins, but himself time to be available. And one of the biggest things that that I like about what Xavier Hutchinson has done, especially through our training camp, had nothing to do with on the field. It was off the field on Monday when he came to the press conference. He talked about his shortcomings on last season, and he took accountability for that. I like the fact that he took accountability and he didn't run away from it. He didn't shy away from it. And he said that that's one of the things that fueled him, and he wants to be better this year. So I think that given, a full year inside of this system, we'll be able to see, if he should be retained by the Houston Texans, or if they should let him walk. But I believe that this is a season with more reps that you could see Xavier Hutchinson take that step up.
Jonathan, are you a Hutch believer, or are you looking at somebody else?
So I was going to say Xavier Hutchinson. Sarge stated his point eloquently. He does have incentive, but I'm going to give you guys somebody else.
Okay. Hold on.
Oh, please don't say who I think you're going to say.
Lewis. Shout out to the LBFC.
What does LBFC stand for?
Lewis Bond Fan Club.
Are you the president?
I'm not, but I might join. They were getting on my head.
Hold on,
they were getting on my head for not being
way.
a believer, but I'm a believer, and I'm gonna say Lewis Bond is gonna step up.
Okay, what does that look like? Well, you say
what does that look like? Yeah, what's that look like?
You got to stand on that.
Okay, I'm doing this for a show. I think it's gonna be all right. But if I'm being realistic, I think Lewis Bond will do better. He looked good in the joint practices, don't get me wrong. But if I'm being realistic, I do think Xavier Hutchinson is going to get more of an opportunity. But I really do think that the Texans are going to go after Jaylen Null. I think just his playmaking ability and just what he could potentially bring as a deep threat. Obviously he's not going to play on the outside much. But I think CJ is probably going to go to him a lot more than what he did last year. I think he'll be able to trust him more. I think even Jaylen Null looks more confident in the limited time that we've seen him. And I think he'll understand, the need and the urgency to play a lot better. So I think everybody will be elevated behind Nico Collins and Dalton Schultz, but I think that third leading receiver is probably going to be Jaylen Null. Normally I'd probably say Tank, but I just haven't seen him practice for me to express confidence that he's going to be that guy.
So shout out
to a question.
Just real quick, shout out to Dwight _Shroot 98, who's definitely been tapped in with us. Said DJ looks sick after that Bond comment. DJ,
I'm just listening.
No. DJ, tell him how you truly feel about Lewis Bond.
I don't got no Lewis Bond hate. Tyreek Hill doesn't have a leg. His right leg does not work right now. So yeah,
I would not be relying on him. Yeah, especially if you had Tyreek Hill in the same boat.
He has the same injury as Tank Dell. You don't want to have two guys.
Like literally 2 of T, they have the same exact injury.
Yeah. Sarge, you were saying something. What was that?
Just real quick, I was going to ask Jonathan. You said that you think that Null will be third as far as receptions is concerned after Nico and Dalton.
Yeah. I'm a more so say third in receiving yards rather than receptions. Like I think they're gonna use him a lot as a deep play threat, and I think he's gonna have his opportunities, and I think he's gonna make the most of it for the most part.
Even though you haven't seen him at any, he hasn't practiced much throughout camp.
No, well,
that's one of the reasons I was asking too.
No, even though I haven't seen him practice much at camp, and here's why: because I think he had a good OTAs and a good off season. He did.
You're talking about OTAs.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, he was there. I'm not saying he was killing other people. I'm just saying he was there. So, he's not totally, like, he's not in Tank's situation.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Tank, yeah. So, I just think he's a little bit more farther along. Also, with the fact that he's a playmaker, and we saw kind of, like, potential of that. I think if he kind of is able to get the offense down packed a little better, develop some chemistry with CJ Stroud, maybe improve his run blocking, then I think he certainly has the potential to be third in receiving yards. Receptions, that might go to Hutch.
Yeah, I just think that with real quickly, with that being said, I wish that we could have got an opportunity to see more of him last season. I think that Nick Caley and his staff on the offense side of the ball, I think they did him a real disservice by not giving him the opportunity to play as much as he should have played, and keep trying to put Christian Kirk in there, who kept getting hurt.
He had 16 million reasons.
Yeah, that's true.
Hey, listen, they ain't afraid to pay no money. They were still paying Cully and Love, so they might
But that
love it.
Count against a salary cap.
But before we get to potential external options, we kind of just touched on Tank there. How fair is it? Or just what are your thoughts on Tank right now? Obviously, they're slow walking this process. How do you envision the impacts that he might have early on, especially as the Texans try to adjust to losing Jayden Higgins? DJ, I'll go to you on that one.
To be honest, I don't even think it's even fair anymore to even ask about Tank until he's out there. I mean, they got a game in less than a month, right? The first game September 13th. Jim, I'm just generally speaking, right? They haven't let him participate in team that much. I can count on my hands the amount of reps he's taken through our team. It's less than 10. And as I said, that he got his own plan. D'Amico said he has his own plan, and they're gonna stick to that. So, yeah, obviously don't feel comfortable with him taking any type of contact right now. So if you don't feel comfortable with him taking contact, then it's we think about it. After what? After tomorrow, we're gonna be going into the third week of the preseason. If he doesn't participate in joint practices in Charlotte, it's not even fair to have any expectations on what Tank could do going into 2026. Because it's all right, they telling you, because I'm gonna go off your action, not your word. They're telling you they're not comfortable putting him out there right now. So, that's kind of my thought.
DJ, if you're Nick Caley and you have the news, obviously it's official that Higgins ain't walking through that door this year. What do you think it changes for him as far as maybe what they might like to do, knowing that your wide receiver 2 is not going to be there, and here are your options moving forward for the rest of the season, particularly early on?
It's me or Jonathan?
No, DJ.
Oh, I had zoned out for a second. I was reading a comment. Nothing, because I don't think Higgins had elevated himself into the role of we have to really fit you into the game plan and scheme things around you. He hadn't elevated himself to that point yet. So I don't think too much changes, in all honesty. I think the type of routes they would have him run, I think everybody else can run those type of routes. I think he was running it better. But I don't think anything changes in that aspect. Okay, well, we lost Higgins. Now we have to completely revamp. Nah, you still got Nico. So you could just, I'm team spam Nico this year. He should get over 200 targets this year if he plays all the games that is. But he should get close to 200 targets, in all honesty. You just got to figure out how to get that man the ball. He should average 12 targets a game.
DJ, question real quick.
I may or may not have an answer.
Get him the ball, but what type of get him the ball? What type of receptions? Are you just in breakers, or find a way to get different types of routes developed so that he can, because sometimes Nico does a lot of in breakers. What I say, our in breakers that he gets out. But sometimes I want to see Nico be able to catch the ball in stride and get up the field and do more of some down the field work.
I want them to use him the way JSN was used, right? That's how I want them to use him. In the sense of you can do your in breakers, but one thing I'll give the Seahawks credit for is they knew how to get JSN isolated one-on-one. So find ways to consistently get Nico isolated one-on-one, let him go to work and win his one-on-one. So that's kind of where I'm at on that first one. I mean, put him in the slot or setting it up to where the team has to put 8 in the box. So then that leaves Nico kind of one-on-one with the corner outside. Let him win that matchup. That's kind of where I'm at. There's ways to get Nico 12 targets a game. There's a lot of ways to get Nico 12 targets a game. So that's if you want to get over 200 targets, close to it, you got to get over 200, you got to have 12 targets a game. To get, a 10 is fine. That puts you at 170, but he should be averaging at least 10 to 12 targets a game. And I would say finding ways to get him matched up one-on-one consistently.
Jonathan, obviously with Higgins out, it's like, all right, what are the Texans' other options? We spoke about some of the free agents that are out there. Not a ton of great ones, but if there's maybe somebody that the Texans should maybe potentially target trade wise, what's a realistic option for you?
I mean, I thought the only realistic options recently signed with other teams like Diggs and Keenan Allen. To be honest with you, I think the most likely scenario you guys are going to see, and I recently wrote this, is that the Texans rely on the current guys in their room and then sign another guy for depth. I think that is more so in line with what Nick Casario and D'Amico Ryans have done. Now, if you want a pie in the sky guy who might be available that you could get that is probably going to contribute for at least what Jaden Higgins would bring, then you might look at Keyshawn Booty um, over with the Patriots because they reportedly have been looking to trade him. I don't think he'd be a bad number two option. I don't know how he fits currently what they do, but he doesn't seem to be a bad option. But that's more so a pie in the sky kind of guy. I think the most likely scenario is they go with their guys, because I don't think it's totally the end of the world. Now, if it was Nico Collins who got hurt, and this is no shot at Jaden Higgins, I want to make sure I emphasize that because they game plan for Nico Collins. If this was Nico Collins, we'd be talking about a different story. I think Jaden Higgins being the number two, this has happened before. You look at the Carolina Panthers in 2015 lost Kelvin Benjamin uh, in the preseason, and they were. I'm not saying that the Texans are going to have the same exact season, but they were able to get to the Super Bowl that year. So I think they'll have opportunities to figure out a plan, but I think most likely scenario is they rely on their current guys.
Benjamin was the one that what you call is gonna beat up, right?
Him and Cam got into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, before we move on, let me interject something here real quick because I know that we're looking to see how will how will they replace the production of Higgins? Do they need to go out and sign a veteran? Do they need to make a trade? I want to be honest with you. I think that because I think that they already have what they need in order to go into the season, and one of the reasons why I'm
Just
really
real quick on that because I want to build off what you're saying. You say you feel like the Texans have what they need, but
yes.
like for a team that has Super Bowl aspirations, do you feel like for a championship they have a wide receiver or weapons enough to win a championship? I just want to be clear on that. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
And the reason why I say that is because, like, I'm going to be honest with you. I felt like they had enough to win a championship last season if Joe Mixon would have been there. Like, if Joe Mixon would have been there, I think that we would have seen the Houston Texans, and I know they went on this ridiculous winning streak after going 0-3, but having Joe would have changed the trajectory, which is now you have David Montgomery. So I think that David Montgomery will help to ease some of the pain of the loss of Higgins, because if you can get the running game going, now you're not depending on a second-year running back who was drafted. Well, Woody was drafted in the fourth round, if I'm not mistaken, but you're not depending on a second-year running back to lead your team. You actually have a real running back that not only the Houston Texans believe in, but when you look at some of these shows, you can see some of these NFL analysts believe that the Houston Texans can take that next step because they do have David Montgomery, a running back who can not only run the ball, but can also catch out of the backfield. You have Woody Marks who can catch out of the backfield. And so that would have been an addition to what they would have had if Higgins would have been healthy. But I think, like I said, they already have what they need right now. At least see how that's going to play out now that you have David Montgomery there.
DJ, how much of what were your thoughts on Sarge's point about what David Montgomery, about bringing in David Montgomery and leaning on him even more now?
I think David Montgomery will be for sure a productive player. In terms of the overarching question about having enough weapons,
Brother, you in the back. You want to, you know what I'm saying?
I want to say, I feel like they should have enough weapons to have success this season. I just don't know. I mean, It depends if Jaylen Null and Hutch take major steps forward. If they take major steps forward, then yeah. But if they don't, then it can get wonky down the stretch of the season, I would say. But again, I'm gonna say I think they have enough weapons mainly because Sarge's right. When it comes to the run game, if David Montgomery is as good as they need him to be, and the O-line can help pave the way and things of that nature, they'll be fine. Like they'll still to win when it matters most in terms of the playoffs and be able to win on the road and be able to win, grind out games and things of that nature.
Everybody in the chat, please clap. DJ and Sarge agreed on something.
No, you tried to force a disagreement between me and DJ.
I did.
DJ, why he act like we ain't part? Like, let me tell you something.
No, hold on.
Let me tell you something about me and DJ. Just let it happen naturally, because it will happen naturally.
Fans disagreed with you, but he didn't want to actually disagree with you, so he tried to kick the ball to me. He passed the ball to me.
No.
See if I was shot. I was like,
actually, I didn't. Actually, to be clear, I didn't. Pretty much for the same reason that Sarge said too, but also I think with D'Amico Ryans, he wants to run the ball, and so it sucks to miss Jayden Higgins, but they're still gonna rely on their defense and run the ball. And I think right now they have enough weapons, but as you mentioned, guys like Xavier Hutchinson, we still gotta go see it. Jaylen Null's missed pretty much all of training camp. Tank Dell, we still know what's up with him. But I do think once those guys get healthy, as of right now, they have enough, especially with how dominant the defense should be. But at the same time, Nico Collins misses games throughout the year. And so what happens if Nico Collins goes down? And now you're looking at, Xavier Hutchinson, 2 years removed from the game, Tank Dell and Jaylen Null, and we'll see how he progresses. But actually, I agree with Sarge. But
But Jonathan, I like Jonathan's point too. About Null, he is probably the biggest, threat that they have that can open up the field. Like, excuse me, one of the players that could take the top off the defense. But I agree with him, and I think that, and I listen. I can't speak for Jonathan. Jonathan is right here; he can speak for himself. But if I had to be, I have to say Jonathan M. Alexander. Make sure I put the M in there. If I had to be Jonathan M. Alexander. Jonathan, would it be too that you think that all he needs to do is to get his conditioning down, since he does know the majority of the offense, and he just needs to get his conditioning down to be able to play in the regular season?
I mean, conditioning, got to make sure that hamstring isn't still bothering him, and then the most important thing is making sure he's getting chemistry down with CJ Stroud, because he's missed 3 weeks. And that's critical time. But not saying that he can't do it. I think they will figure it out. But he's got the conditioning, got the hamstring, and making sure that chemistry is right with his quarterback.
All right, before we wrap here, we'll read through a couple of these comments, and we'll make this quick. Nico gets injured every year. How are you going to run when the opposing defense doesn't respect the wide receivers? You trust CJ to make the right play and raise the floor. Do you guys trust CJ to make the right play and raise the floor? I agree.
I do.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of interesting how, yes, he had a bad playoff run, but people act like they act like he's Jameis Winston. He's notorious for making bad decisions consistently on the football field.
Yeah.
So he wasn't the only one that had a bad playoff run as far as quarterback play is concerned, but he's the one that's taking the brunt of it.
True, Justin Herbert.
And rightfully so. I mean, he should take the brunt of it, but it's there's a difference between criticism versus for example, Jeremy Brenham keeps harping on this. I want to hear him talk about decision making. Bro, he had a 2-game bad stretch. That's not that's why everybody was so shocked.
Wait. So DJ, is the honeymoon phase over?
The idea that my bad. That's why everybody was shocked, because that's not who he's been from a decision making and turnover standpoint, right? If that's what we expected, or we knew that's what he would do, we wouldn't be so shocked. People just clown him, right? For example, when Tua would go and play in cold weather, it was almost guaranteed he was going to play like shit. It was almost guaranteed he was going to play like boo. So people weren't shocked. People just clowned the Dolphins every time they went in cold weather and they played like crap. So when CJ played and they've been playing bad and then making the amount of mistakes he was making and poor decisions and things of that nature, that's more rare. We haven't seen that happen. I think I think that was like the first time CJ had like a multi-interception game in a minute. Like I can't remember the last. You know, I could be wrong, but I can't remember the last time he had that many interceptions in like not 4, right? Obviously, he hasn't had 4 ever in his career, but the last time he had more than 2 was going back to his rookie year against the Cardinals, and the last time he had, I think, 2 in one game, if my memory serves me correct, y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, was against the Lions on Sunday Night Football, but both of them came in the second half, right? But I could be wrong on that part, but I don't think I am. If I am,
an interception right out the gate after halftime in the Lions. I know that.
Yeah, it was the first 2 drives. It was a hitch route to Tank. Carlton Davis jumped on that one, and the next one he was rolling out right, had Tank in the back of the end zone, threw it a little bit late because he wanted to set his feet, and then Carlton Davis came and took that one. But he hasn't been known for, and also sometimes there's bad interceptions that happens, right? But it's also like interceptions that are because you made a terrible decision. Like that, he looked drunk out there at times with some of the throws he was
uncharacteristic.
Huh?
Yeah.
It was uncharacteristic.
It was very uncharacteristic.
Yeah.
That was uncharacteristic. So like the whole
You can't point to a pattern.
Yeah, you know, but
Yeah.
I would say raise the play. Yeah, I think he raised the play. He's done that before, right? Like that's why we can expect him to do that because we've seen him do that, and we can expect him not to, you know, vomit all over himself because that was like the first time we've ever seen him since he's been a Texan vomit all over himself outside of maybe like the Green Bay game where he had like under 100 yards passing.
Thanks.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I don't think it was indicative of what went on during the season. You know, to me, it just seemed like a lot of factors were involved, and he had his worst performance, his best receiver. You know, they were trying to get him on the field, and his best receiver's out. His second best receiver goes out, Dalton Schultz. Bad running game. Weather. I think it was just combined with him having his worst game. You know, I don't see any lingering effects on the pressure that he's having because he hasn't done that consistently. I just think people overblew it because it was the last game of the season. They had an opportunity, and that's the lasting memory of CJ Stroud. So it got, I don't, maybe overblown was the wrong reason. I just meant it got magnified more than what it would normally get.
All right. So last time he had 2 interceptions was against the Chargers. And then before that one was he had 2 against the Jags. Yeah, he had 2 against the Jags. But outside of that, if I'm just going to his entire career, in terms of multi-interception games, it's not that many. You got Cardinals, that's one game. You got Minnesota, that's another game. Lions, you have Kansas City, and then you have the 2 games I mentioned, right? So we're talking about 5 games in his entire career, regular season, right? You say postseason, so we're talking about almost 50 games. If I can count correctly, I probably can't, but 50 games where he had 50 games, only 5 of them he's had more than 1 interception. So like, you know, I just want to put that out there in that aspect.
I'll close with this. Some other names that fans have been throwing out there: DJ, Jonathan, Sarge, all you guys. Quick thoughts on it. People want to see a Ohio State reunion. Marvin Harrison, a potential trade there. Is there any chance that Nick Caserio will get that aggressive and that the Cardinals would make a move? I've even seen Wilson as well. Fans clamoring for them. What's the likelihood of seeing Harrison or Wilson in a Texans jersey to replace
Harrison will be short term, right? Because he's going to be coming up for a contract. What, in 2 years, a year or 2? Jonathan, you know the contracts better than I do.
I think he might got. I don't think this is his last year, but I would say like that is not going to happen because that's going to cost at least a 2nd round pick. And
at least.
And Nick Caserio not going to give up a 2nd round pick for a receiver who hasn't yet proven himself. So that's my opinion on that.
Especially with Bills due soon, and they gotta, they need young, cheap talent, not paying guys. So, any other names, or just internally? It's gonna be internal.
I think internal.
Same.
There it is. Well, appreciate everybody for joining us on this, we're going to call it emergency edition of Texans Cookout. Make sure that you like and subscribe. Feel free to share with all the homies. And appreciate you guys for pulling up with us. We will see you guys next time. Sarge, talk to me.
Hey, DJ. Make sure you finish training by 9 because the Lynx and the Valkyrie play tonight.
I'll try. I mean, I'll be done. I'll be done by.
I'm staying up to watch that. I'll text you. I'm sorry, DJ and I, we're big WNBA fans as well.
Yeah. Caitlin, WNBA.
Hold on. Who's MVP?
Asia Wilson.
Olivia Miles not top
Olivia Miles?
top statistical category.
She'll get there. But her team, Minnesota's loaded.
MVP, and I understand the reasoning. It's just gonna look wonky in a few years, where it's like, damn, they gave Olivia Miles MVP. She was in top 5 in assists or points per game, while you had Asia Wilson averaging 26 and 10, or you had Kelsey Mitchell averaging 24 on 52% shooting while shooting 47% from 3, or Caitlin Clark, who had the first 22-8 season in WNBA history.
Minnesota can win without Olivia Miles. The Aces cannot win without Asia.
Exactly. Yeah. At the end of the sport is about value. And
the Fever can win without Caitlin Clark.
Yeah,
not long term. They definitely need a long term, but in the short window, they can. But
they can. Yeah. I don't even think I would have it Asia, Olivia, and then either Kelsey or Clark, or it's 2A, 2B, 2C. You know what I'm saying? But I think it's a gap between Asia and Olivia Miles. I'm always a big believer of whoever you give the MVP to also needs to be clearly one are in argument for being the best player in the league.
I agree.
Especially in basketball, I'm a big believer in that. I don't feel like you can. You're not saying that she's not one of the best players in the league, but I don't know if she's not arguing for the best player in the league.
Yeah, because you got to be, who cares about championships? That's a team. We talk about MVP.
Yeah,
that's what KD said.
When it comes to basketball, every single player we've seen win a championship, win an MVP, they were in the argument for the best player in the sport. Every single player, people were arguing, I think he is the best player in the sport.
Hey, we got to end. Jonathan is getting sad because Charlotte Hornets do not have a good basketball team. So, or the Golden State Warriors, for that matter.
I can't even argue with you. I can't even, I want to argue, but I can't. I'm disappointed.
Make sure y'all like and subscribe. See you guys next time.